What up folks, welcome back to the Delboy's Garage. Okay, we're going to have a little play with this Yoshi pipe tonight. This came off the Bandit, and I've done that other thing you know about, and what happened when I took it off was all these bolts snapped off. I've got one out now. I'm going to show you a little trick. I just want to pass this little trick on because it's something that I see a lot of people on the forum, two forums that I take part in, struggling with, and that's various bolts stuck in engines. And when you get your header bolts from your manifolds into your cylinder head, they like to snap off for a pastime, and the cylinder head is quality aluminium, and the bolts are steel. So this is exactly the same scenario. We've got a steel bolt that's sheared off, partly sheared off because the kind of exposed area of the bolt there, this bit that's sticking out, that's left, this was behind the plate that has held it onto the downpipe, and all that came off, all that broke, I think I've binned them now, there we are, all that broke was that. Literally, that's all it was, just the heads broke off. So the weather and the corrosion's got to that and weakened it, so it didn't really have the beams to work enough to undo it, and you can't really heat it up, and heating it up is the secret. So I want to show you a couple of little tricks that work every time, almost getting these things out pretty much every time. Remember, steel and aluminium do not rust together. It's chemically impossible, but they do crud up, and it's that crud that grips hold and does the job. It's like a white powder. Don't chemically know what it is. It could be some sort of zinc oxide or whatever, but some sort of powder gets in there. And the tools that I always use is half round file, and I use this sharp edge, and then get right in to the crevice there between the alley and the steel, because that's where you get this cruddy build-up, which I've done now, as you can see. That's all gone, and get it nicely filed all the way around. So you've prepared that and you've taken off as much as possible. I've also left these with a bit of penetrating oil on for a good, I don't know, hour or so, but the penetrating oil is not really as useful as this little tip, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. First things first is, because I'm going to have to use a pair of grips to get these off, so rather than gripping the steel as it is, because it's round, it's just going to slide, I'm going to file a couple of flats in that first of all, just short ones to give me some purchase, and then we're going to see, we can heat up this alley, and I'll tell you why that works, hopefully if it does for the film. That one worked alright, hopefully these will too, and I can rescue this can. Okay, let's get cracking, show you what I mean. Okay, first thing, let's get a brass wire brush, nice and soft, and get the final bits of that powdery crud off there. Now if this is the cylinder head on your bike, yeah, agreed, it's going to be a little bit harder, but you just got to make the best of a bad job. Do what you can. Try and clean the whole thing. And once you get all of that crud off, you can get a much cleaner purchase on it. And it's, again, it's steel into alloy, so the two metals are different chemical makeups. They should not corrode together. It's only crud and muck in there that's holding onto it. So it's going to file a little flat in either side now. Nice and flat, make sure it's nice and even all the way along. And obviously don't file off too much, because you don't want to leave yourself a weak bolt, because if that's weak it will just shear flush, and then you have to go on to the next phase of drilling and helicoiling. That's all you need. Okay, got the bolt prepared, filed a flat on either side, and then big pair of proper American vice grips, the best quality you can, because they don't flex when you give them large ones. So get it on there and just measure that, so that when, in a minute, you've got to do it quick because it's going to heat this in a second. So get hold of it so that it's got a real sod off purchase, real good old beefy hold, and then you know that the angle of those is set correctly, so leave those ready in that position. Then we just got to get the gas lamp going. Just a bit of butane and just warm it up. And the purpose of this, if you don't know, plenty of you guys have probably done this. You're probably already looking at it thinking, yeah, seen all that before. But the purpose of it, for those who don't know, is the aluminium expands faster than the steel. So if you heat the aluminium from the outside, you swell it away from the steel, and that releases its grip. Use the hottest part of the flame, which is that inner point, and keep it moving, but not directly on the bolt. If you put it on the bolt, you'll expand the bolt and you'll make it worse. The idea is to expand the alloy away from the bolt, and it doesn't have to be that hot. Just warm it up. Okay, that's ready. Get it clamped on there nice and quick. Get the best purchase you can. I don't guarantee this is going to work, it never is. But this is what we do. Get down on the surface, get an old sheet or something over it, get on either side of it. You've just got to hope. There's a little bit of praying. And there it goes. And there it is. One bolt out. Now that will work just as well on your cylinder head as it did there. It's no mystery to it, it's just a bit of common sense. If I tried to do that stone cold, it would have snapped off. It's the heat that's the secret, and that's what I just want to pass on. A little tipette. Now I'm going to get that one done. Close on that. Okay, that bolt is just whittling itself down, one stubborn one. Sometimes it won't work. This is all trial and error. They've been lucky, they've come out, real bit of grunting and puffing, got them out. But that one, they ain't having any of it. The crud that sticks out in is permanent. Well, nothing's permanent, it will come out, but it needs a little bit more strength. And this was shorter as well. It broke off further in that way, so I haven't got enough purchase, and all it started doing was going like a point. Right, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The last one, like I said, welded itself down to a little point, and eventually there was just nothing to grip, so I've filed that flat, so I've got a nice flat surface to drill into. And the next thing is to get that centre punched and start very carefully popping a drill bit down for it. See if we can drill it out. Stick around. That's it. Nice sharp centre punch. A little bit of WD-40 or maintenance spray, anything, a bit of lubricant, a bit of GT85. And just use a bracing bit on a sharp drill bit and just gently go down through it. It takes quite a long time, but the stud is not as long as the hole. In fact, the stud is about half the length of the hole. So I will come out the other side of the stud in a minute. And rather than using a power drill, brace and bit gives me a chance. I'm coming close, just to see what's happening, to watch the direction of the hole. I don't want to come outside the hole because there's a faint chance I might be able to get an easy out in there and still undo it once I've released it. But I've got to get out the other side of it first. So this is just about half an hour or 40 minutes of gentle drilling down through the steel. Steel's harder, it's quite easy to slip off and start cutting into the alley, and then you've naffed the thread up, then you have to helicoil it. I'd like to see if I can possibly save the thread and just drill down through the stud itself. And just a little tip if you don't know, bit of WD-40 on the cutting head when you're using a brace, and it cuts much easier. Just got to keep going. Right, there we are, gone right down the centre of it with a 4mm drill bit. And what I'm going to do now is, that's the size of the blind hole that you would then thread to be that size. So in other words, that goes down there but not quite, so that's the right size. If I can get that thread down through the centre, all it will do is probably chafe the thread on the way down, and I've got taps and I can get down through that. Might be able to tap the original thread out. I just want to avoid helicoil because they're not secure. So I'm just going to go through this again, and again I'm doing this with good old-fashioned brace and bit, because you've got loads of control, you can keep the angle guided, and you can listen for it cutting, and you can also stop when you get to a difficult bit. It doesn't just blast through and cause damage. Okay, it's a nicer way to do it, and it's quiet because it's 10 o'clock at night and we'll wake your neighbours up. So let's get down there with this, make the hole a bit bigger. That's it. Hole's all cleaned out. Now just going to run a tap down it. Get some thread back in there. Bit of a two-handed job. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, just a quick show you while I'm doing it. Now I've got a camera person back. Thank you. When you first, if you've never done this before, it's ever so simple. First tap you put down is a chamfered one, and then you put a full cut one down afterwards. So just going down with the chamfered one to start with, and that cuts the thread, makes its own space. Now all the steel's gone, and I'm just into the alley now, and really, as I thought, as usual, most of you probably know about this, pretty straightforward, but if not, say it. Get the tap in, keep it upright, and it will just cut itself down. You've got to keep a downward motion, keep it absolutely perpendicular to the hole, and as the can's off at an angle, I'm just back a bit. And once it starts to cut, don't let it keep cutting, come back on yourself. So there, that's it, I'm there at my cutting face effectively. So I always do one complete turn and just come back to break all the swarf off. Again, one complete turn, break all the swarf off, until you reach roughly the bottom. And remember that the end of this tap is chamfered, so the thread won't go all the way to the bottom. You've got to run the full cut tap down to the bottom. A little bit of grease as well helps. You can get proper cutting compounds, but you know me, I use what I have. And this has been really fortunate. The drill took out all of the tap wrench falling a bit, see? The drill took out all of the bolt, all by a little wire, a bit of swarf. So just pick that out, little rat file down it, make smooth sides. If it gets a bit chewy, sometimes it pays to take it right out and clean the tap. What is going on with this? Gets a bit gunged up with swarf, that's all. And there we are. Bit of WD or GT85. And this action just polishes off the thread, just cleans it up so there's no little bits of swarf that are going to catch you out afterwards and naff up the new one. There we are. So I've been really lucky. Sometimes you literally have to go beyond the size of the bolt and then helicoil, or go to a bigger bolt. And on a cylinder head on a bike that's not always possible because you've only got so much room. But on this, as you can see, I have got loads and loads of meat. That there is all billet alloy. Aluminium, so I can do all sorts with that. And what I've managed to do is repair that thread. I've gone in there and taken out, there's a little bit of it left actually, might be able to see that. That is possibly a little bit of the old thread. I've gone down the bolt, right down the centre of the bolt. No, it's not, it's just a bit of swarf. I'll file that off in a sec. What I've done is gone down the centre of the bolt with a 3mm, then a 4mm, then a 5mm, and all I've done is left just kind of a grazed up, damaged thread, and I've just run the tap back down it and clean it up. So 3 new bolts, that'll fit the bike. So tomorrow, going to look into stubbying that. As one of you suggested, why don't I stubby it? I might as well have a go. I may not use it, but I kind of think it'll look better that long than that long. So that's the major first thing. I've repaired all the threads. That's now back ready to fit on the bike in whatever length it is. Okay, that's it for tonight. Stick around, stay tuned. I'll see what happens with this tomorrow. I'll take this crappy badge off because I hate it, and we're going to work on a new finish. So that's been Delboy's Garage. Thanks for watching. See you next time.